How's it going, everybody? RazingHel here, and today we're taking a look at a game called Battle Islands Commanders. So this game is developed by DR Studios and published by 505 Games, and they have a little bit of a theme going on here. So if you're familiar with sort of the titular games such as Clash of Clans and Clash Royale, they sort of started a pretty big thing. They started their own genres on mobile. And this game is something of a copy of that. So 505 Games has their Clash of Clans clone, and they also have their Clash Royale clone, and that is what Battle Islands Commanders is. It's the Clash Royale for people who are more interested in a World War II setting, which it's not a bad thing, right? I think there's more than enough room to have a different themed Clash Royale style game. I think a lot of people might unfairly throw it under the bus due to that, right? So right here we have the battle screen. Obviously, this is where you can do ranked battles. There aren't any single player missions or campaigns or anything like that. You can do trading battles, but you're not going to get any rewards for that. As you can see, instead of having the chests, we have crates. That's what you get from winning. I am currently completely loaded up because I actually went ahead and played a few matches. Now, there were some reviews on Steam that mentioned that there are a lot of hackers in the game. And the interesting thing about this, there might be at higher levels, but the player who wrote that review had about 30 minutes of play in the game. Now, I have 2 hours of play in the game currently, and I haven't really noticed anybody hacking. Nothing obvious. Like I won my fair share of matches here, I feel like, and I don't think I've been unfairly paired up against too highly ranked players. There was probably one that had units that were leveled like double what I had, but overall it was relatively fair matchmaking. Sometimes you'll have to wait for a bit to actually get matches, but this could be partly because there is not a whole lot. I don't think there were quite as many people in my time zone on it at the moment, right? So if you're playing it at midnight, there's not going to be a whole lot of people over here on the West Coast playing it, basically. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to replay a battle. I want to show you kind of what it's like. This was a pretty good battle right here, I think. So let's go ahead and rewatch it rather than try to play it on my own because it takes a while to find a match. I would say about 2 minutes, and then I would actually have to play it. So as you can see here, if you're familiar with how Clash Royale works, you have 2 players. They have their sort of bases on either side of the map. In this case, I'm the blue side, and my opponent is the red side, and we each take turns deploying units against each other. They cost command points. You can see the bars in the lower left and right corners. Those are our current number of command points, and you have different types of units, right? So if you're not familiar with the Clash Royale formula, which is sort of going over how it works, you will have like anti-tank infantry. That unit right there that's currently shooting at my tank is anti-tank. He didn't manage to quite take it out. Then you have like machine gunner turrets here that actually are pretty good at distracting units from your towers themselves. And as you can see, sometimes you can put down a barracks, those randomly spawn units. All of this stuff will be familiar if you've ever played Clash Royale, but for those of you who haven't, who thought the theme of Clash Royale was a little bit too cartoony, too high fantasy kind of stuff, something more realistic along these lines could definitely be up your alley. So we're pretty much going after each other's sides. I think we're both doing a fair amount of damage. I did manage to take down one of his turrets, and now I'm working on the battleship itself. And then he managed to take down one of mine. So as you can see, like I said, I think a lot of the matches in this game are pretty well balanced, and we're trading blows quite fairly. There really isn't a whole lot else to say. The matches themselves last a relatively short amount of time, which is something I'm a big fan of. I don't necessarily like the idea of spending 45 minutes to an hour on a single match. I think in this current world that we live in, the games that are able to entertain a winning formula with a very short amount of time to expend per match are going to be the ones that ultimately dominate the market. But I could be wrong. The reason being for this is because there are just so many games out there nowadays, right? and they're all demanding players' attentions. So if you can have your game demand a little bit less of their time, it makes it a lot easier for them to get into it and play it. So I did a fair amount of damage to my opponent's battleship here, and I'm just pushing it for all it's worth now, because as you can see, we only have 23 seconds left before sudden death, and if I manage to take out his battleship, it's instantly game over, because there we go, battleship down. Yeah, so either you can take out the most towers, or you can just take out a tower and a battleship, and then you automatically win. And when you win, you get a crate. I have crates from different theaters here, as far as I'm aware. As you're aware, if you've played Clash Royale, you're aware that there are different kinds of chests. So, for example, you can tell the cheaper chests only take 15 minutes to unlock, while the more rare chests take 3 hours and 8 hours, respectively. And then you also get free supply drop crates every 4 hours. Now, that is something that also was done in Clash Royale, and I guess the reinforcements was done as well. So both of those reinforcements, after a certain number of matches, you get a reinforcement chest or reinforcement crate. So in that respect, you know, not a whole lot of original stuff there, I will admit. They pretty much copied the formula, but the theme is different, and there are different kinds of units that actually change things up. So here we're just clicking cards to see what we got. Got some, what are these, command points? Supplies. Supplies are like the equivalent of gold in Clash Royale. Gold is like the equivalent of gems, and then that's pretty much it, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So, what fun stuff can we do here? The reason that I'm not going to play it any further than this, let's upgrade that guy, is because we all sort of know how this works, and it takes a long time to level up past here. So I'm just going to discuss some of the units that I found to be unique thus far. So there are, for example, right here, we have the barbed wire. Go to info. Now this is something that I don't think really has an equivalent in the earlier parts of the game for this game's inspiration, for Battle Island's commander's inspiration, right? So this is a defensive trap that slows infantry, but it is instantly destroyed by vehicles. So when you deploy something like that on the battlefield, it will slow down and damage the infantry. My infantry have always gotten destroyed by it, but a tank can run right through it. And those are the rather unique additions to the game that I think make it a little bit less of a copycat, less of a copy-paste version with a different skin, right? Because there obviously has to be some thought going into the mechanics of some of these additional cards and units that are being added to it. And I think that has its merits. In addition to the standard stuff, there are alliances, pretty standard, you know, all together. Aside from those different units and the different setting, it's very much Clash Royale. If you're familiar at all with Clash Royale, you'll be right at home with Battle Island's commanders, which in a way is a mouthful. I will admit that doesn't roll off the tongue the same way Clash Royale does. Like, you can say Clash Royale, it's easy. It's just a few syllables. And you have Battle Island's commanders, and funny things start happening. Okay. What we're going to do in the remaining of the time here, I want to find my crates again. Let's go back to battle. Sometimes this stuff is not very responsive, and I think it might have something to do with the fact that this game was originally on mobile devices before it was ported over to Steam. I'm currently running it on Steam, but it was originally available on mobile devices such as iOS and Android, obviously. And I just think, like, in general, the functionality of it seems a little bit unresponsive from time to time. But let's go ahead and hurry along some of these chests. Just unlock them. I know people like watching other people unlock chests to see what's in them. There we go. I have a new unit, I guess. This is the Fortify. Defensive addition to encampments, extremely effective at absorbing high damage strikes. Okay, that was a new card. I haven't had one of those before. Let's see if we can afford to unlock any of these others with gold. How much is this going to cost? Oh, only 2 gold. We can afford that easily. So let's open up a cheap chest, see what we can get here. 2 cards. Nothing all that interesting there. How about this one? 8 hours. 47 gold. I can unlock it immediately for. Let's do that. So this is an officer crate. I guess that's how they distinguish them. It doesn't want me to tell me what this crate is. But you know, there are different levels of crates, obviously, here. Let's spend it. Spend the gold. And we get 5 cards. Let's see if there's something good here. Nothing much there. Oh. We got 1 rare card. Overall, not that impressive, but okay. Let's unlock this last one. This was an infantry crate. And it would normally take 3 hours, but we're going to speed it up. Just for this video. 3 cards, that's what we got here. More canines, and a rocket. Nothing too important, but I think we have some stuff to upgrade here. So when you want to upgrade, it's called promoting, and you spend this this gear, it's called supplies. You spend the wrench to do it, instead of spending gold. I have plenty to spare, so let's upgrade that. And my rank increased, I'm now level 3. There we go. Mortar Man. One thing I would have to say I didn't like is if we go back to replays, and I'm just going to do one more replay here before we end it. Oops, yeah, watch this. One thing I don't like about it is you can't hover over to see the details of the card. Like even if you press and hold, or left click and hold on it, it's not going to give you any more information. So that means you have to sort of memorize the cards before going into the battles. Obviously, as you play at it, this is going to happen anyway, because you would just be familiar with what all of them do. But when I first started the game, that was one thing that especially annoyed me, was the fact that I couldn't check the specifics of the cards simply by either just hovering over them or clicking and holding. So, might be something you want to keep in mind. Can we speed this up, by the way? Yes, we can. Let's see how fast it can go. Apparently, there's only 1 additional speed. Oh, I think we've seen everything. Done. So this is going to be one of those interesting scenarios. I don't think I can cancel this replay. Yeah, let's retreat from it. Okay, there we go. That's weird. That doesn't seem very polished. And then you can't exit the game. This I found very... Oh, now you can. That's very weird. I could have sworn before you couldn't. Yeah, now you can quit game from here. Before, I thought I was always having to press escape. See, if you press escape, you get this screen. But apparently you can also get it from options. Not exactly sure how I missed that. But apparently I did. Okay, well, yeah. That's another free-to-play mobile game for you. It's called Battle Islands Commanders. I'm just trying to fill some time here with games that don't require a lot of investment to explain. It's one of the issues with the First Impressions series is usually I have to play the game for a few hours myself before I can even begin to do a preliminary explanation of how the game works, right? But yeah, maybe later I'll have more time and I can focus on something more in depth than mobile ports, right? But anyway, thank you very much for watching, as always, and I hope to see you next time.